Welcome to the Workbench After Hours podcast. My name is Keith, and I'm your host. This is where we talk about the firearms community, shop talk, and everyday life experiences. Welcome back to episode 37 of the Workbench After Hours podcast. Chris is sitting in between me, and we have a new guest. Who's this guy?
Hi guys, my name's Hunter. Thanks for having me on.
He's almost like a guest. He's been MIA for the last three episodes.
Yeah.
Good to have you back.
And actually, to get back on, Keith had me fill out extensive paperwork to be a new guest on the show. I had to get it notarized. It was, I mean,
there's an application if you want to be a co-host. There's a vetting process you got to go through.
And he put me through it again. So.
I'm going to need you to fax me those too.
Oh, I brought hard copies.
I need them faxed.
What?
Yeah.
What age are we in? An email doesn't work? You have to have them faxed over?
I don't check my emails.
No. Oh, okay.
Fax.
Has Chris been promoted from IT, or is he still?
Well, he's been here the last 3, so I think he's middle co-host.
Moving on up.
To be fair, I was adamant about being on the last one, and Keith looked me in the eye and said, "Sorry, we have somebody else coming on. You can't come on."
You said you were going to be late, and we usually don't know how late that means. Had we waited, then it would have taken you guys forever.
That is not true. We got back to the house at 7:15. We normally start recording at 7:30. That would have given me plenty of time to get over here, get situated, and go. Keith said.
You weren't sure what time you were going to be back, and like I said, our luck would have been had we scheduled it.
All right.
Sorry, I like having 3 because 4 gets a little crowded.
A little bit.
Better take my face off the intro.
He brought the mustache back just because he's got a mustache on the little picture there.
Yep.
You got a clean shave though.
Yeah, well, to keep the mustache, I said I had to at least have some stubble with it because we just did our maternity photo shoot. So, in order to keep it, I had to at least have some scruff along with it. So,
yeah, and this picture right here, it's kind of hard to tell that you gotta. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Show the people. Those of you who are listening on Spotify, he's got a creeper stash. Just picture it.
I wouldn't say it's a creeper.
Well, you drive a van, and you had puppies in the back of it.
And said free Wi-Fi on the side, so.
And ice cream, yeah. I don't know, but I bought the van used, and that's just what was on it. So,
cool. Well, so this week got a surprise for these guys as far as the whiskey of the week goes, because you've listened for a while. They're huge fans of this dumb show on Netflix.
Really?
What show do you think I'm talking about?
Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders.
Of course.
So I found this whiskey, Bushmills. It's a Prohibition recipe, Irish whiskey. It's by order of Thomas Shelby. Shelby Company Limited.
I was curious as why you grabbed it out of the whiskey globe and snuck it into the closet to undo it. I was like, what's up his sleeve right now?
So what this is as close as they can get a whiskey to what Thomas Shelby would have been drinking back then. It's this style of whiskey. So it's gonna be it's 92 proof. So we'll see what it's gonna taste like. It's aged in bourbon casks. And yeah, it's non-chilled, filtered.
What's the style, or what's the typical proof of what we drink now? In the hundreds?
No, it's
90-ish.
90 or 80 proof, I think.
Aged for a minimum of 3 years. I'm assuming it's like an Irish whiskey then.
Yeah, it
didn't say Irish style?
It doesn't say Irish on. Oh yeah, right there. I can't read.
You read it.
So it's not. So it's actually not going to be a blend. It's going to be just a straight up Irish whiskey. I'm hoping it's good.
We'll find out.
Otherwise, I'm going to have an issue with Thomas Shelby.
You need to watch the show. He'll take care of you.
Mm-hmm. If you watch the show, you'd have an appreciation for this too, Keith.
So I feel like we all need cigarettes now because he's always smoking cigarettes while he's drinking.
Nonstop, 24/7.
Yep.
So even though in the movie or the series, he's probably drinking apple juice or something, but this is what he would probably be drinking. It's got a little picture on there and everything. It's pretty cool.
Except he'd probably be drinking it neat.
Probably. We should have done it neat first, but we didn't have anywhere to put the ice cubes this time.
That's true.
So we went with the large
cubes.
It smells pretty sweet. Irish whiskey typically is.
Like really sweet.
All right, since this is Hunter's favorite show, we'll let him try
definitely some caramel. I can drink that all day.
Definitely sweet.
There's some sort of aftertaste. I can't put my.
I think that's where you get that 90 proof on that. I'm getting that 90 proof on that aftertaste, but the initial taste of it's pretty sweet.
It's a pretty sweet bottle as well.
Yeah. Here, hold it up to. Let me switch the camera here. Yeah. So it's got his picture of Thomas Shelby on there, and it's got their family name on there. So pretty cool. I thought that was cool. I was in the whiskey aisle and I saw that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I got to get that.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't. I don't think it was expensive.
Hey, I appreciate it.
So I'm like, oh, I'm going to save that for when Hunter's here. But
thanks, Mom.
I was a little nervous at being Irish whiskey. I'm like, I hope this is good, and it's pretty good.
But I mean, think about it. The Jameson Black Label that you love, that's Irish whiskey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other ones that we had that been Irish.
That other one that he brought the
it was
the Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor, yeah.
And
I don't remember the name of it, but it was pretty. It was smooth, you know.
And then we had Chris and I try the Keeper's Heart, which is a blend of Irish and American whiskey. It was okay.
Yeah.
I prefer the Black Barrel.
Yeah.
By Jameson, for sure.
Yeah.
That's man. That I catch myself buying that every now and then just to drink, just because it's so smooth.
What is it?
The Jameson Black Barrel.
Oh yeah, it's so good. So good.
So smooth.
So if you haven't tried it yet and you listen to this, you should get you a bottle. Try it.
Yeah.
You won't be disappointed, that's for sure. My dad loved it. He kept pouring and pouring.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the whiskey of the week.
How considerate of you for my return.
So, gun of the week. I figured I would bring this out. So I have decided to make this my new carry gun after doing several videos on it on this channel. And that is the Springfield Hellcat Pro. And in it, I'll switch cameras here. I have the Eclipse holster. It's got the We the People on there, so it looks really cool. It's an inside the waistband holster, Kydex. Got these cool double clips here, and it feels really good. And it's got this retention screw. You can change how tight your gun fits in there. So I did loosen it up a little bit, but it fits in there real, and it's comfortable to carry. That's one thing about holsters is a lot of them can be really uncomfortable. I don't know if you've tried your out of the waistband holster yet that you got.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I just barely had to adjust the screw, just a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was just wearing it around the house the other day just because. Just walking around like.
Yeah.
It fits really good in the holsters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It slides in easy, but it takes a little resistance to get out, but it's like the perfect amount. Like when you draw it, you have to draw with a purpose, which is what you want with the holster.
So really cool. Fits in there real nice. I put it in there the right way. Really nice. So check out Eclipse holsters. They're not expensive at all, and they're really good. And you get them generally within about 3 days. They custom make them to your order, and there's different colored
patterns and everything. So
many different patterns. It was hard for me to decide. I know Chris had a hard time. Yeah. And for my wife's, I just had them pick a style, but I like the one that I got for her is the Guns N' Roses. It looks really cool.
I've actually been going back on there looking and like, oh, I want this one now. I want this one.
Yeah. So it's really cool. But the Hellcat Pro, after I've done a couple comparisons videos with this gun to some of the other ones, I've decided to make this my carry gun now, just because it's really awesome. Check out those videos where I think I compared it to the Glock 48 and something else, I think, right?
Glock 19.
Or the SIG P365.
It feels so good in the hand.
But it feels really good. It's holds 15 rounds. It's a double stack, holds 15 rounds, but it's thinner than say like a Glock 19. Here, I'll switch over to you. Way thinner than a Glock 19. It holds the exact same amount of rounds, and it has the RMR cut for if you want to do a red dot, because people do that now. And the back sight is a white U notch, and the front sight is a tritium sight. So that kind of yellowish greenish color that you picked that up.
Truth, it's right there.
Yeah,
I love
it.
it.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
And it's just the grips are good. They're not overly aggressive, and it's just
it feels so good in the hand.
It's so good in your hand, and it's got their adaptive grip texture is what they call it. So it feels really good. I like it because it's got the finger grooves here versus the Gen 5 Glocks don't have those. I prefer those grips right there. And then they got this little indent right here where your index finger can go when you don't have it on the trigger. So it's definitely if you haven't seen one of these or held one, check it out. They're really nice. Yeah. It's a bigger version of the original Hellcat. The original one's smaller, and I like this because I get a full grip on it versus the other one. Basically, your pinky hangs off unless you get the extended grip. I like this. It's smaller than the Glock 19, roughly around the same frame size, but thinner. And
it's a lot thinner compared to the Glock.
And it's got the it's got that sleek, athletic look to it instead of the boxy typical Glock looks. So.
Yep. And right now they're running specials to where if you buy it, then you get like 3 extra mags and like a pistol case. So
how much are they going for right now?
It depends on where you find them. I think I have
I'm finding it through you,
like $560-ish.
Oh,
I think, but
yeah.
I mean that's
I got to save that money for the trifecta before I get another
well,
pistol.
If it's for you, let me know. But retail on Boomstick generally around $560-ish. Even though I can't say that on YouTube. Or maybe that's Facebook. Because I'm not allowed to sell guns on Facebook, even though I don't.
Did you see what Eclipse did that one time to keep him out of jail? She had a banana.
Oh, yeah.
Wrote down the gun on it. It's like, that's smart.
Yeah, so I can't put a link to anything. So
say you're selling bananas and put names on it.
Hunter's using the new microphone this week. It is the Lewitt 240 Pro.
Let us know how it sounds down below in the comments, but I think it looks cool. I'm not sure yet. Once I get uncomfortable and I have to start messing with stuff a bunch, I'll let you know how I feel about it later. Right. But so far, so good.
Give it about 10 minutes and then... Yeah, it's cool. I wanted to try to do mic because we put the miles on that neat worker bee, so it's nice to try something different.
Yeah.
And I got to get a condenser mic for him just because he likes to move. So, yeah.
It's always so considerate for no longer a co-host of the show.
I know. You get a new microphone. You get an awesome whiskey. Man.
Living the good life.
I should just be a guest all the time. This is fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah, this whiskey is really smooth. Yeah. Really sweet on the top end. Definitely caramel. Get a little vanilla in there.
Yes, I did. I wanted to taste it first, but I definitely got vanilla in it. And the beer of the week is Big Wave Golden Ale, so there you go.
Yep. That sounds good.
I like it. It's like, if it's hot out, I wouldn't want to drink it, but, we're sitting in this nice cool room. It's a good, like, medium heavy beer.
I think of that brand, that Golden Ale is the lightest.
Yeah, right? Some of their IPAs are pretty intense, but I really like that Big Wave. So
I used to be really big into craft beers, but I can't do it anymore. I'm just more into the whiskey and just tastes better.
I just can't do beer like that. I've tried, but I'd rather stick to the whiskey.
I did it a lot when I traveled for work, and especially when I went to Colorado because they have so many breweries out there, and got to try I started off liking pale ales and then branching out to IPAs. I do not like oatmeal like stouts at all.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, it looks like motor oil and it tastes probably about like motor oil.
No, it's not just like motor oil. Midwinter, I think it's like the perfect beer to drink because typically you don't drink a lot of beer in the winter because served chilled, obviously, but I do like it's a bit heavier. It's not as much carbonation. I think it's a perfect like sitting around watching football type of beer.
I think most cocktails are chilled though.
Yeah, but it's got the higher alcohol content, and it's not. I mean, the volume of it's not nearly as much. You're not drinking a big cold thing. You're drinking a smaller cold thing. So to each their own, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. So we'll jump into the main topic of the week real quick. Get out of the way. So I know Chris and we brought this up on several other podcasts. We may have brought it up with Jacob. I can't remember, but for sure with the 1808 bill that we went over, and that is the gun-free zones.
Yeah.
So Hunter being somebody that's new to carrying a gun, whether I know you don't have a concealed carry right now, but somebody looking into getting a concealed carry or possibly even open carrying places. A lot of people go into, say, like some sort of store and you see that no gun sign on it. So like if you go to a mall, if you go to Target or a bunch of other places, they have that no gun sign posted.
Libraries, stuff like that.
Yeah, schools are different. So if you see that on like federal land or a school or like a federal building, you can't carry a gun onto federal property. So that is the one you want to pay attention to and actually obey. Schools, I think, is a given nowadays.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you see the no gun sign on any federal property, even the post office, federal property, I wouldn't carry a gun on there. Obviously, if you're just driving through for the mailbox, probably not a big deal. But I would not walk inside the post office with a gun. So anything federal, stay away from. Schools, airports, stuff like that.
Well, you can airport. You can actually lock it up and fly with it.
You can, but you can't carry it on you.
Yeah, you can't carry it.
And I'd get a little iffy
I've
flying with a gun.
I've actually watched a couple of videos like how to properly check a gun and everything. And one guy I watched did it. He has pretty much those Pelican cases.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got his gun in there. You have to get it when you, I guess, buy the ticket. You got to tell them that you're going to have a gun on you and whatnot. It's got to be locked. And it's a little, you better pay attention to what airlines you are flying with and verify that you're following their directions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pretty strict on that.
Yeah.
But if it's legal to carry in your state, so either you have the constitutional carry or you have a concealed carry license, depends on the state. Kansas, luckily, constitutional carry, but I still have a concealed carry license, so I can take it across state lines. But if you come up to like a mall or some department store that has that no gun sign on it, that doesn't mean you can't legally bring a gun in there, especially if you're concealed carrying, because they're not going to know that you have a gun on there. So go in there, as long as you don't brandish that weapon or anything, or make it known that you have it. Not going to be a big deal. It's not technically against the law to do that. It's more of a common courtesy for those businesses, I guess. Because as we've seen in some recent things, there's been several instances where somebody that was a law-abiding citizen carrying a gun on them legally stopped a threat, even though there was that no gun sign. Obviously, the shooter didn't pay attention or follow that sign anyway. So luckily, there was a concealed carry person that was in there and stopped it. So if you go into one of those buildings, and as long as you don't brandish it or are open carrying, you can conceal carry in those places. So don't feel like you have to take it out and all that stuff. Because more than likely, that's going to be a place that's going to be targeted by one of those people.
Yeah, that's good to know, because I've only ever really paid attention to them. I guess it'd be on federal property because they so adamantly post it everywhere.
Yep.
And so that's why when you said, if you see those signs, the first things that pop in my head, school, library, stuff like that. Yeah, I guess they probably do have them a lot smaller, not posted nearly as big on,
malls, department stores,
stuff like that. Yeah, and it doesn't really draw your attention nearly as much, but that's good to know that.
Yeah, you can still carry in there.
Yeah.
Just the only way that...
Just be smart about it.
If they find out that you have one and ask you to leave or go put it in your car or anything, then you have to obey them. But otherwise, if they don't approach you and ask you to leave or put it back in your car, then you're fine to conceal carry. Most people that are conceal carrying are doing so to where they don't want anybody to know they have one on anyway. So there you go.
If you're doing it right, they won't know.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind. If I know a lot more people with everything going on are concealed carrying, and with more states adopting that
constitutional
carry, just keep that in mind. And it is highly recommended and encouraged to carry some sort of insurance for yourself. So there's a bunch of different programs out there. There's a Right to Bear Arms, which I have a link down below, or USCCA, several other different ones. And that's basically to protect yourself if you ever have to use that firearm in a self-defense situation. So like with that kid that stopped the mall shooting, you're still going to get arrested, put in handcuffs until they figure things out. But when you have this insurance, they actually pay for your legal fees and will give you a lawyer in your state. So that way you're covered. And in case you're in one of those anti-gun states but are still following the laws, it could become a little tricky. So it's good to have some sort of insurance on your side. So definitely if you are somebody that does carry for self-defense, it's highly recommended to have some sort of insurance for that, just to protect yourself. Yep. And it's inexpensive, especially with the Right to Bear Arms. There's different tiers, and it's, compared to what legal fees would be if you were to have to hire an attorney and a retainer and all that stuff, it's pretty cheap.
That's good to know. I had no idea that you could get insurance for something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So
even if you just don't carry a gun on you and still have a gun in your house to potentially use for self-defense, same thing. You might want to have one, because even if you shoot somebody in your house in clear self-defense, you're still going to get asked questions and everything by the cops immediately, and you want to know what to do. So they basically give you a number to call as soon as something happens, and they will guide you through the process to not basically shoot yourself in the foot, kind of a thing, and protect you. So
well, good.
Yeah.
So now when I take the class, I know exactly what to do.
And
immediately after.
Yeah, if you do take a concealed carry class in your state, they go over a lot of stuff like that you don't think about. A lot of the different laws and things, and just stuff that I never thought about until I took that class. So
I never thought about it till you just brought it up. It's not even kind of in my wheelhouse of things I was thinking about.
That's why I recommend, even if you do have constitutional carry in your state, it's always a good idea to go take that class anyway and get your license, because they go over certain things that, again, you don't think about. And especially if you want to carry cross state lines. We live in Kansas City, so we're so close to Missouri. But if you don't have a concealed carry license and want to conceal carry in Missouri, you have to have that concealed carry license to do so. You can't just because Kansas has a constitutional carry and say Missouri does too, you as a Kansas resident can't go over into Missouri and conceal carry because you're not a resident of that state. So I know a lot of people don't realize that, even though Kansas is.
I think they get mixed up by that, and because how some states they recognize Kansas's concealed carry
license,
but people think, they recognize our concealed carry laws, so they just think, our constitutional carry will be good to Missouri. That's why I think a lot of people think that way.
Yeah, and that is wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, just because your state has constitutional carry and the state that you're going to has it too, you're not a resident, you cannot legally conceal carry there unless you have a license and that state recognizes your concealed carry license. That's what I did when I traveled for work. I would plan my route to go through all the gun-friendly states, especially if I was staying in one, because I would always take one with me, just because you never know. And so I'd make sure you could look up online and see what states recognize your state's concealed carry license, and that way you know which states you're safe in, what states to avoid. Like, I always hated when I had to go through Illinois because they don't recognize it. So it's don't stop in Illinois.
Yeah. Keep going.
Or like New Jersey, you just can't flat out. Like, you cannot take a gun across state lines into New Jersey. It's crazy.
That reminds me of when we were driving to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, put the magazine back here, put the slide over here. He's just like completely disassembling the firearm as we were going through.
Yep, just because we didn't want to run any risk in Illinois, because yeah. But as soon as we got out of Illinois, we're like, all right, put this back together, put it back in the glove box, we're good.
Yep.
So yeah, just keep an eye on, if you do travel with firearm, make sure you know what states you're going through and their laws, just in case. Because if you don't have a concealed carry license, there's certain requirements per state how they want you to carry that gun in the vehicle. A lot of times it has to be in the trunk away from you. The magazine has to be separated. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
That's why it's good to have that concealed carry license, because then you don't have to follow that. Like, you have that license, you can carry it on you without having to separate it, and you're good. But depending on your state.
State dependent.
Yeah, and it's always changing. So just make sure you're up on that stuff. And again, those insurance places like USCCA give you all that information. They have a map of all the states that recognizes each state's license, and you can look that up, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I haven't bored you too much, have I, Hunter?
No, I love this.
What's going on in your world?
Oh, my wife is now extremely pregnant. And last Friday, during the OB appointment, she found out that she was measuring big. And so the doctor told her that either we might be slightly off on the due date or we're just going to have a big ass baby. So next Friday, not this upcoming Friday, but the following Friday, we have our last appointment where we get a sonogram, and then that'll clarify everything, whether we were slightly off on the due date or if he's just going to be a little chunky guy. So pretty excited about that. I actually missed last week. We were doing the hospital tour to see like where she's actually giving birth and do all the insurance information and stuff like that. So I missed the podcast last week because of that. And the previous week, she was having some crazy cramps and she's kind of freaking out. So I decided it was probably better to stay with her. And I can't remember why I wasn't on the week before that, but pretty much just a lot of pregnancy-related things that go on when you're, halfway nearing the end of the third trimester that... there's a lot of just random crying that's going on, which is understandable. She's growing another baby or another human in her stomach right now. But so that, and then besides that, I've just been playing as much disc golf as I can right now because I know that's going to be a thing
of the past.
Well, something that's going to be few and far between for a while there after the baby's born. We've got the nursery completely 100% done. So that's done. I don't have to stress about that anymore. But now it's just the little things like she's got this book that she wants me to read. And I admittedly skimmed through it pretty quick. And she's like, "You read it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "There's no way you just read that whole thing." I was like, "No, I did." And she's like,
quizzing you.
She's like, "You gotta read it." Okay. I'm pretty sure there were no baby books back in the day and babies were just fine. Why do I have to do all this extra work? But
so when you're sitting there with the baby and not being able to get it to cry and you're like, "What's going on? What did I do?" She's going to be like, "Hunter,
should have read that book.
Read the book, right?"
Not going to be able to get it to cry is what you just said. That's easy. You just start shaking.
To get it to stop crying.
I'm just kidding. She hates that. Every time she asks me a question about the baby, I always just give like the most stereotypical shitty response you possibly can give.
You have that go bag packed?
If the baby's crying, what do? Well, you just shake it really hard, right?
And she's
just like, "Are you?" Yeah, it's almost completely packed. I didn't realize there's an entire different wardrobe you have to buy after the baby's born in terms of like,
recovery or whatnot.
But like panties and like the pads and stuff they have to wear afterwards, and there's like these special bras with a lining in it because you don't want
leak throughs and all that.
You don't want to just be in the middle of a conversation and just have your shirt start swelling up with milk stains. And just there's so much stuff that I never had even thought twice about it or even considered that goes into it. So
Chris is sitting here like, "Yep, I've been through this twice, buddy."
Yep. He's like, check. But yeah, it's getting close. So I think anytime after 36 weeks, like the baby's fully cooked, ready to go, and it can come literally at any point like that. And Sunday will be 34 weeks for us. So we're right there to.
It's going to happen at the most inconvenient time for you guys.
I'm sure. But the hospital tour was really cool. So the same room that she labors in, she gets to recover in as well. We don't have to share a room with anybody. It's got a shower, a tub, bathroom, a mini fridge. Yeah, it's that brand new Advent Health that they just built on. It's right across from Blue Valley Middle School.
Oh,
High school.
169.
Yeah. It's like 169 and 159th, pretty much.
I didn't even know they gave tours. I just figured that, oh, I'm having a baby. Let's go to the nearest hospital.
Yeah, so
Nope.
the tour was just kind of like, icing on the cake. And so Jasmine could give medical history to a nurse. But the real reason we went was to give all of our insurance information and stuff like that before. So she wasn't in the middle of labor when they were trying to be like, all right, and who's your carrier, So it just kind of avoids a lot of that.
They'll wait. Trust me on that.
Oh, I know they will. But this will make it just is going to make the whole process smoother.
Yeah.
And then, I took a month break before I was on now. You guys might not see me for a long time after that. Hopefully not.
Oh, I'll be surprised if we see you because you're going to be either dead tired and just over here falling asleep, or Jasmine's going to be so tired and make you watch the video. We're like, yeah, have to record some.
I mean, the one thing we have going for us is how close both of our parents live. But I'm still going to try and make it over here, even if I have to be burping them on my chest while we're doing it. Get him into guns early.
Yep, exactly.
He's going to have a pistol in one hand and a disc in the other as he's laying on me. So,
and then a bottle full of whiskey.
He's going to be giving us tasting notes and everything. It's going to be awesome.
Hell yeah.
What do you think, Uncle Keith? You ever going to watch the little bastard?
Yeah, and as soon as it cries, I'm going to hand it over to Murray.
Smart. That's what I plan on doing too.
What Nathan does is he blows in their face and they get like all shocked, like what the hell just happened? Or he'll pinch their nose. That's what he used to do to our baby brother.
All right.
You guys used to do that too, Mason?
No.
Or, I mean, to Nathan?
Nathan used to do that to our youngest brother.
Your kids. Okay.
No, they got a younger brother.
You have another brother?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he used to do that and be like, oh, it's so cute. And
I probably
pinch his nose and he'd flip out and he'll stop crying because he didn't know what the fuck just happened. What I did to Mason every once in a while, just blow in their face. And they're like, whoa, what the fuck?
Put them in shock real quick.
And it's like,
that probably only works for a few times. Though, right?
It works pretty good for a while.
Well, note taking.
I just remember watching Shameless and Frank Gallagher just putting a little bit of whiskey on the lips of the baby, and it just stopped crying and went straight to sleep.
That's when they're teething.
Yeah, but
a little whiskey, JD.
Yeah. So what are we? Well, we're not going to give any of the expensive stuff. So maybe we'll just,
regular Jack.
Jim Beam.
My baby deserves better than Jim Beam. Damn it.
All right.
Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
People keep asking me. It's a stolen joke from a comedian, but people keep asking me like, "What are you gonna do like when you're busy and Jasmine's, having, troubles with the kid and like how are you gonna? What are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "That's your kid." Just be like, "That's your kid. That's just your problem. I don't know.
Out of you.
I gotta go." She's not a fan of that joke either.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work out too well for you, knowing Jasmine.
Yeah, I had a book.
She's crazy now, and we haven't even had the kid yet. I can only imagine what it's going to be like. She gets mad if I don't talk to her belly every day. Like, what is that going to do? Just kidding.
It recognizes your voice.
Yeah, they do say that actually does work. And
Yep.
I do it, but sometimes I'm so tired, and she's like, "You haven't talked to him today." And I'm like, I'll roll over and just be like,
Night.
"Go to bed." So anyways.
Nice.
What's new in your world, Keith?
Well, Chris is mad at me a little bit because I tend to get him addicted to stuff that I get addicted to. So, I got him in the whole gun thing and building guns, and, that's not a cheap hobby.
No. Especially when you're already a car person, and that's not a cheap hobby either.
Yep.
And a fishing person.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I got a deal from a buddy on a scooter. Jake, who was on the last two, guy he knows I got it from. And so, riding it's technically a 150cc, I think. So it gets up and goes. I've had it out. I think I've gotten it up to 50. After that, it gets a little funky. But on the roads around here, the side roads, it's speed limit's 40, 45. So I could keep up on those. But now I'm to the point to where I'm like, all right, this is cool. but now I want the real deal. So I've been looking at real motorcycles and stuff, and I found that because I know I've never ridden one, so I'm comfortable with the scooter now, so I feel like I'm good there. But obviously, completely different than a motorcycle because you don't have to shift on a scooter. So I looked up and found that Harley Davidson, which there's a dealership really close to us, does learn to ride classes, and it's basically made for people that have never ridden a motorcycle. And it's 2.5 days. First day is just all classroom work, getting to know stuff, and then Saturday and Sunday are full 8-hour days learning how to ride, from learning to balance it, to starting it, to learning how to just do the clutch, shifting, turning. And then afterwards, then you do this test. And if you pass the test, that's enough to go get your motorcycle license. So now I'm trying to convince Chris to do this with me, because it'd be funner with somebody that you know.
I really want one. I've always wanted one.
I don't think you're going to be allowed to get one.
Yeah, I don't think I'll get one. Hey, real quick, tell us what happened at Heritage Park the other day.
Oh, my God. So the reason I went to Heritage Park is because the other day I was riding the scooter, and I'm like, all right, I finally got a full face helmet for it, which is nice because it blocks a lot of the wind and bugs from hitting my face, so I can get up to the higher speeds and be more comfortable. Well, I was driving around I was gone for probably 30, 45 minutes, and then I noticed, like in my rear view mirrors, I started seeing some smoke. I'm like, is that, maybe I hit gravel or something? So I'm like, ignored it. And then I came to a stoplight after a while, and then I start smelling this like burning smell, and all of a sudden I see all this white smoke. I'm like, what the hell? And I look down, and it's just burning oil and a bunch of smoke coming from where my muffler is. So I look down, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Took it home. Apparently, at some point, the oil cap came off, and oil was just spewing out of it and coming out, hitting the muffler, burning, and then going all over the freaking place. So that was something I had to fix. So I spent
was there a possible time that a park police officer might have pulled you over as well?
Yeah. So after I got all the oil cleaned off this damn thing, and I had to take it all apart because it got literally everywhere. So I took it apart, and so then I'm like, the next day I'm like, all right, I'm going to take it, fill it with oil, make sure it was just a fluke. And so we live pretty close to this big park, kind of a big area with a lake. You can drive around. So I figured, I'll cruise around there. It's a nice day. Speed limit's 25, so don't, just kind of cruise around. Did. And then all of a sudden, I see a cop, and I'm like, not a big deal. I mean, I thought in Kansas, if you have something that's technically a 49cc or under, you don't need to register it. So I just go by this cop, turn around, and then I continue on my merry way. And I thought I was good because he didn't move or anything. And it was probably literally 5 minutes later, he pulls up behind me as I'm driving down, not speeding, going the speed limit. And then he pulled me over, and I'm like, shit, what the hell is this guy doing? And he goes, you have that registered? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's a 49cc. I have a thing saying it's 49. I thought in Kansas you didn't have to have it registered. It's under 49. And he's like, apparently you do. I guess. I don't know. But I'm like, I don't have
full of shit.
I'm like, I don't have a title because it's a prototype that was made for like these investors. So there's no VIN number. So there's no title. And I'm like, he's like, do you have insurance and all this stuff? I'm like, no, because there's no way so the letter says it's a 49cc, but it's really 150cc. But there's no way to know because there's no markings on it anywhere. It's really hard to get to the engine, but when you do it, there's no markings on the engine. So really, other than it's a Moto Vox, I know nothing about this damn thing. And nobody else does because the company that made it went under. So even if I Googled it, couldn't find anything on Google about this damn thing. But it's still really cool. It's only got 300 miles on it. Put about 100 on it. But I'm like, dude, he's like, you need to get it registered. I'm like, how am I going to register it? There's no VIN number. You have to have a VIN number to get something registered. And I'm like, I thought in Kansas, if it's under 50cc, you don't need to. And then I gave him the letter, and he went back to his car for about 10 minutes. And I'm sitting on the side of the road, being a guy on a freaking moped pulled over by a cop as a bunch of people are like, it would have been better had I been speeding because at least I had a legit reason.
Or on a motorcycle or something, but you're sitting on this hunk of a
scooter.
Moped.
Yeah, a little moped. I'm like, this guy was obviously bored.
You know what happened? You know why it took him so long to pull you over? He had 5 minutes left in the episode of Peaky Blinders he was watching. And he's like, all right, he's not going anywhere too fast. I'll finish these 5 minutes and I'll go catch up to him.
That or he had a radio with his buddy like, is there supposed to be a license plate on the back of the scooter?
I like my scenario better, but
yeah, even he didn't know. I'm like, he didn't know. So I'm like, I think you have to get it registered. So get it registered. I'm like, all right, whatever. He's like, how far do you live? I'm like, down the road. So he's like, all right, get out of here, take it home, get it registered. Luckily, he didn't know that I had to take a street home that the speed limit's 45. Because that's definitely higher than a 49cc motor. So I looked, and apparently in Kansas, you still have to register it. It would just be considered a moped. So they give you a tag, like a license plate, but on it says moped. So like a license plate number and all that. But it's like $40, and that's all you have to pay. Apparently you do sell it because Uncle Sam's always going to get their freaking
Are you going to do that?
The problem is there's no VIN number, and you need a VIN number to register it. So I got to figure out what to do with that.
The funniest way to do it would be to take like a little chisel and just crudely type in VIN and then just make up a number and just be like, what? It's got a VIN number.
You could buy, I looked up, you could buy the VIN plates, like a blank one, and punch the numbers in. But it's like, my luck, I'd pick a VIN number that's already like on a stolen car or something.
Yeah.
2001.
It's like a drug lord's VIN number or something like that.
I don't know if it has to be a certain length or whatever. So I called the highway patrol office that does the inspections, and I'm waiting for them to get back to me because I went into the DMV and one person told me, well, just get an ownership form and that's good enough. But then another lady is like, no, it has to have a VIN number, may need to get it inspected. I'm like, well, that sucks because if I get it inspected, they may find out it's 150cc and not 49.
Well, no, when we moved back to Kansas, we had to get our X5 inspected. All they did was check the VIN.
Did you watch House of Dragons the other night?
No.
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Chris did. Yeah. I'm waiting for a few episodes to come out. That way I'm not like, at the end of the first one, I'm like, shit, not going to wait another week.
We haven't had the opportunity yet. Brian and Vanessa said they liked it, but we'll see if we actually like it. But
sure
how was
good.
it? How was it?
It was good. I had to watch it twice because the first night, Kat was going to bed. I was like, oh, watch this.
We had to
like,
keep it low volume.
and I was getting bits and pieces. I'm like,
oh, fuck.
Yeah. And then, of course, the dogs started barking, so I had to go let them out, and I had to pause it. And guess what it was on? The sex scene, the first one of the freaking show. She's like, you're always watching this just for the sex. And I was like, no, I'm not. This is literally the first sex scene.
You had to pause out and she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
with
pretty
this?
much.
I thought for sure Keith would have been.
I know.
Well,
he doesn't even masturbate to the sex scenes. He does it to the rest of it.
I want to wait until I don't have to wait another week. I want to be able to watch a couple episodes back to back.
We've been meaning to watch it. We've just been busy, but I'm excited for it. But I read all these reviews that all the like diehard Game of Thrones fans, the book fans, are like, it's not true to the story, blah blah blah.
Screw the book fans.
And it's like,
well, it's like 172 years before this.
It's a fucking show. Who cares?
I thought it was longer than that.
They said 172 years since
before actual Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Isn't the whole purpose to have it be cinematically like dazzling? Like you want to watch it like in it. Who cares if it's not directly on the storyline? And if you care that much, don't watch it. But I just saw all these, like on Instagram, I just saw all these people like, oh my god,
it was good.
It's just the way they ended the series. They made a disgrace of it. Blah blah blah. It's like, did they though? Or is this some made up fantasy land where you just want to see some fighting and some boobs and some drama? That's what it is.
The first episode was crazy.
Was it?
Yeah. Like,
I'm excited to watch
it. At the end of the day, no matter what you do, you're going to have haters.
Yeah.
So
of course.
It is what it is. But I have a feeling it's going to be good, but it's going to suck and not be the same because it doesn't have my girl in it. Daenerys Targaryen. She's dead.
She's dead and gone.
By the way, if you haven't watched it, spoiler alert.
And sorry if this.
Oh yeah.
If this is boring.
By now, you should have watched the original Game of Thrones.
Sorry if this is boring to you guys, but you guys can't see this. But as I look around the room, there is nothing but Game of Thrones.
Let me see if I can move your camera over a little bit. Right here, you can see I got.
There's 2 Daenerys posters back here. There's flags for each of the major families. Behind
there
us.
you go. There, well, you can kind of see them. Got her good one, and then where she's kind of
behind us. We got Jon Snow and the wildlings, it looks like. Then a really crisp picture of, is it Daenerys or Daenerys? Yeah, it's just pretty much all Game of Thrones shit. So sorry to bring this off on that tangent, but
yeah, a lot of Game of Thrones stuff. I'm a fan.
Did you listen to the game's diss track to Eminem?
no.
The Black Slim Shady?
What?
Yeah.
Did it just come out?
About 2 weeks ago.
I'm gonna have to listen to it.
The what?
The Game. He's a rapper. His diss track to Eminem.
Let's just say Eminem doesn't even need a reply.
It's that bad.
It's more like an homage. Like we're praising him and copying him.
How about Mahomes on Saturday?
Litting it up.
Dude is freaking on it this season.
Yep.
He looks so good. And and defenses aren't going to know how to defend us because
It's spread out.
it's completely spread out. Yeah, I mean, we kind of got crippled in a way with Tyreek in the last season because everybody was playing so deep, which means we could never go deep. So we had to rely on the quick slants and stuff like that. But now it's like, who's the ball going to? Who knows? Mahomes is so good right now. He's putting it on everybody's chest anyway.
Yep.
So, God, I'm excited.
People are saying it's probably going to be just like his MVP season.
I feel like it is. I really
Not
do.
more.
And he took this offseason serious.
Mm-hmm.
He put on weight and cut a little bit, but he kept a lot of that muscle. He's lean, he's strong, he's fast. If he missed a ball anywhere, it was like a inch off the shoulders, I can't wait. And Nick Bolton's looking like a damn machine out there.
Our linebacking crew.
Who's the new linebacker that he's had back-to-back sacks?
That's not linebacker.
No,
Karlaftis.
Karlaftis, yeah. Edge rusher.
Yeah, I can't wait.
He's going to be an animal.
Yep.
I'm so excited. Keith, getting pumped?
I didn't get to watch a game, so I haven't seen how they played. But yeah, obviously I'm.
The only thing that sucked was what happened today, getting those news. Did you hear about that?
Mm-mm.
Lynn Dawson.
What happened?
Passed away.
Really?
Yep.
I thought he passed away a few days ago.
Was it? They were pretty much today. Was what they
or maybe he went on hospice. I don't know.
He's been on hospice for like 2 weeks, I think. But I think he passed today or last night.
He's battling some sort of illness.
But yeah, they were talking about that all today on the radio.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's pretty. He wasn't that old.
He was up there. I think he was. It was 1923 is they said was his birthday or when he was born.
Never mind.
He was up there in age.
I thought he was a little younger than that.
But yeah, they were sitting there going through like stats of Lynn Dawson. Like, he wasn't that great. He had a 70% completion rate back then.
Right, when the whole name of the game was running anyways.
Yeah, which is nuts.
And he was smoking a cigarette on the sidelines.
Yeah, during the Super Bowl.
Which is cool as fuck. And drinking a Coke.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
What was it that they made a quote? It was like, Hank Stram told him, don't sweat. He's like, QBs don't sweat. They have something. It was like, I can't remember. It was like that. Oh, he just changed everything.
Well,
and no one could touch his touchdown records till Mahomes.
Right, and he was throwing in a non-thrower friendly league at the time. Mahomes is protected like crazy right now. So, and then what's his name? He was a receiver with us for a while.
Sammy Watkins.
No,
Robinson.
Robinson traded to.
He got released from the Raiders. And
Traded to the Raiders.
Yeah.
For training camp, he probably spilled a bunch of our secrets. Released, and then Ravens just picked him up.
Yeah. That's when we'd pick him back up.
No, fuck that. You know he's telling them all of our shit. He's like, fuck these guys.
But we're running total different offense now. It's so
still, I mean, just like Andy Reid's coaching theories and stuff like that. Just like the broader picture, broad paint stuff.
Oh no.
Our league's going to be tough this year.
It's going to be insanely tough.
We got one of the toughest schedules too in the NFL.
We have the toughest schedule.
Yeah. Like the first 8 games, everyone's was a playoff team. Oh,
I don't care. I'm gonna fucking.
What's
Stay
your prediction?
healthy,
What's your
Mahomes.
prediction for the year? Our record.
I think we go 12-5. We still win the AFC Championship, and then I don't know how the Super Bowl goes.
It just depends on
What
who
do you
stays
think?
healthy.
I was thinking either 12-5 or 11-6.
I was
just
going to
'cause
say
of how
11-6 at first, but then after
It's
watching
one of those
Mahomes,
two. I'm like, oh man,
after watching Mahomes throw freaking absolute darts, I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know.
threw
I
for
think
222 yards that last
he
game.
freaking his first 2 drives, touchdown,
Yeah,
and they were easy. I mean, I know we were only playing.
yeah. I don't know.
You all right over
I'm
there?
ready.
Yeah,
You trying to flex for the camera?
no, I don't know. I don't know. I got the stain.
Oh, you got a white stain on there?
Mm-hmm.
What's he been doing?
Bro, shooting ropes. Sorry for the kids at home.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm so excited.
Are you going to do that Survivor Pool League?
Yes,
Did I email that to you?
you did last year. You need to re-email it to me probably. Also, games tomorrow, right?
Yep, tomorrow night against Green Bay.
Damn. Is it on like normal network TV or do you have
I
to
think
have
it's
cable?
on NBC 41.
You can just come over and watch it at my place. Both of you can.
Every time I ask Hunter if I can come over, I never hear a response.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's a no.
No. Last time, I go ask Jasmine. She's like, why the hell does he need to come over here? It's already so late, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Jasmine, it's really not that late. She's like, what do you have to say here? And I was like, well, then Keith's coming over. And she's like, so I just was like, don't wake the sleeping dragon. I just,
She always gets mad if we hang out late in my garage, and she's like, "Why don't you guys ever hang out at our house?" I'm
That
like,
is-
"Well, maybe I'll."
I hope she watches this episode. That is 1,000% true.
Yeah.
Why do you guys always have to be over there? Well, can Keith come over here? No. Then what the hell kind of argument is that?
Yep. Of course.
She is pregnant as fuck right now, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. But even if she wasn't pregnant, I feel like it'd be a very similar situation.
Is what it is. So cool. Well.
Yeah. Also, just wanted to give you guys a heads up. Keith's lawn's looking pretty good right now. But he's got an in-ground irrigation system, and my lawn is easily keeping up, and I have to drag a hose around. So, just want to take a little bit of wind out of Keith's sails right there.
I don't, because I see you out there all dragging the hose around, out there all hours. I have it set for 5:30 in the morning, and I don't even see the sprinklers turn on. And somehow my grass stays green.
He makes me so goddamn mad.
The backyard's not doing so hot, but all I care about is the front yard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got the dogs to deal with in the backyard.
About time to go get an aerator.
Yeah, it is. We actually should have done that last weekend, but we have to do it for sure within the next 2 weekends.
Yep.
And then
Overseed, starter fertilizer, and then prevent.
the seed-friendly prevent, but we really don't even need to do that.
I do in mine
Okay.
because everyone in my neighborhood freaking just weeds and they let them grow.
I hate this. Does your watch tell you it says, "It's time to stand up"?
Yep. I'm going into work and I'll get one that says.
Have you always had an Apple Watch?
No, I just got it not that long ago.
You get the one. It says, "Take a minute just to relax and take a breath and think about your day." And I'm getting that as I'm driving into work. I'm just like, oh, what does this fucking mean? Is it going to be one of those days?
Take a minute and think about my day. Fuck, I gotta go to work.
Yeah.
Have you guys been getting an increased volume of scam or like spam
Oh,
calls?
dude,
Oh,
like
yeah.
multiple a day.
It is skyrocketed for me recently. I've had like 6 today.
I don't know if your phone does this because you got an Apple phone too, but it just says spam call.
Yeah.
Mine does.
Mine
yeah.
says spam risk or whatnot.
It literally was
yeah.
just ringing, and I just
Sometimes I
Stop
pick it
it.
up and see what they are. If it's one of those car ones, like, yeah, what year and make model do you have? I have a 1917 Ford Model A. Click.
right. I don't even answer them. If it
Yeah.
says spam on my thing, I just
Yeah.
if it's important, they'll leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of text messages
Yeah.
that are
For
spam.
political.
Yeah.
Political text messages. Like,
Yeah.
seriously?
Political, or I'll get like a random one like, are you looking to perform better in bed, Hunter? And somehow it knows my name. And then it's like this like long, it's pretty much just like an advertisement for some product or whatever. It's just like, how the fuck do they get that information?
I don't know, because I'm on that do not call, do not disturb list.
And I can't do that because,
Yeah.
you know, I get random calls from my other job. So
I thought the government was supposed to really
break down on robocalls.
I did too, but don't like the actual cell phone providers. Shouldn't they be screening these a little more thoroughly? I don't know.
I'm sure they get a cut of this stuff.
It's crazy sometimes. Like they give you like the same area code, Kansas. Like what? Who's calling from Kansas?
Right. Well, I just had one from Olathe, but it said spam. I was like,
yeah, I'd drive
all right, whatever. All right. Well, I'm at 7 tournaments. I need 3 more before the end of the year. We'll see if it happens. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. That was one of your main goals, right?
Yeah, that was one of them.
What was your other ones?
Read a book a month.
And?
I'm at 6, so
we're on month 8.
I know.
Month 9.
I know, but I'm about to finish my 7th. So
you haven't read the books I gave you? Or just that one series?
I know.
You should. It's really good.
I'm going to.
For those of you listening, it was the author's A American stands for Angry American, but it was the Going Home series.
It's essentially how to
prep.
It's like a kind of prep, but like just general survival. And
the first one's a little hard to get through just because they go into way too many details, but the rest are cool. It's basically a guy that's traveling for work in Florida. He's 200 miles from home in the first book. EMP goes off, and he's got to walk home.
Make his way back.
First story is about how he walked home, things that happened, how he survived, and then the rest of the series is like him being home and all this stuff.
But
really
the first book, even though it is slower, he gives you actual real life knowledge on.
Apparently, my watch thought I stood up just now.
You got so excited talking about your book, your heart rate
maybe
rose, and you stood up.
Stupid.
Better be working out. We got that challenge going on between you, me, and Alan.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the challenge?
Weight loss. It's I'm
trying to lose weight right now too.
You know why he did that though, right? Because they're going on vacation.
Body percentage.
That's not a fair way to do it.
He's like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's like,
doesn't matter about weight loss. More about the percentage body. Like, I'm guessing body.
Yeah, you know how hard it is to accurately measure body fat. 1 and 2. Those numbers can be. I mean, you could say you lost. What's the official scale that you guys are using or whatever?
I already told him I've been dieting for like a few weeks now, and I've already lost it's really easy to lose a good amount at first, but then it's harder after that. So I'm like, I've already lost like 10 pounds. It's like, can I count that? And he's like, I don't think you should. I'm like,
why not? And 3, someone who's like real stocky like Chris is, he's got a lot of muscle hidden underneath there. It's so hard, unless you do like a water displacement test or something like that, it is so hard to accurately tell how much body fat you've lost. You might be losing weight rapidly, but your muscle tone will offset what like a standard scale will think the fat loss is. That is so stupid. It should be either straight pounds or a before and after picture. That's how you guys should be doing it.
Yeah, because it's obviously him and Chris are stockier, so it's, I don't know.
Right. And if you lose a bunch of weight, you're going to look pretty lean, but it doesn't mean you necessarily lost a bunch of body fat, you know? It's just
because we all weigh something different, and then we're all each going to, just because of our body types and stuff, we're going to lose. Yeah, so it's trying to figure out who wins. I don't know.
No, tell Alan you have to rethink this. You can't just go off of some arbitrary body fat.
And Chris and I have already lost 8
to 10 pounds.
Yeah,
and why wasn't I allowed in on this? I've already lost 6.
All right,
come on now.
He wants to do it through what until Thanksgiving?
November.
Just right before they go on their trip.
Yeah,
I don't really want to do it.
You're about to get on all that baby weight.
They were telling me, I always thought sympathy weight was like such a joke.
Oh, no.
I think I've talked about this on here before, but it's not really sympathy weight. It is my wife, her eyes are way too big for her stomach right now, so she orders all this food. And I pay for it, and I'm like, I'm not letting this shit go to waste. So I end up eating my meal and her meal.
Yep.
It's not because I'm sympathetic about her putting on weight because she has a baby. It's because it's like, well, we paid for all this food. We might as well eat it.
I thought that shirt was looking a little tight on you.
What was that? I'm just kidding. All right. Well, this was a great reintroduction on how to be in a podcast.
Yeah. It's nice to have you on as a guest. Glad you can join us.
Thank you. You.
Don't forget to fax me that paperwork. Notarized.
What's my next level after this? I mean, if Chris got all the way demoted to IT, is there something below that?
Chris has been promoted.
Am I going to be in the mailroom, or how does that work?
It depends. Are you going to be here next week?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh.
All right. Guess what? Hunter, his job is to come up with the main topic of the week. You got a week to figure it out.
Hell yeah. I love that.
Did you listen to the last two podcasts? We got our merch coming out.
Woo!
Sometime in the future. Sometime in the very far future.
Hey guys. Thanks for tuning in. Definitely be looking out for our merch drop. Chris, have a good one.
Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button. Catch you guys on the next episode.
I'll feed your ego together.